We got a full house today. Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday, November 19th, 2024 Tarrant County Commissioners Court meeting. We will now call the meeting to order.
Tim O'Hare, County Judge.
Present.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Elisa Simmons, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
Manny Ramirez, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you very much. Today's invocation will be led by Chaplain Will McDuffie from the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. Please rise for the invocation and our pledges.
Let us pray. Father, thank you. Thank you for who you are in our lives. Lord, we thank you for empowering us to do what we do. We realize we can't do it apart from you. But Lord, we're embarking upon what we consider Thanksgiving. But Lord, we know through it all that every day is Thanksgiving because of you. Every day we wake up, it's a day of Thanksgiving. To be able to see another day, to be able to affect somebody else's life, to be able to promote you in everything we do and say. But Lord, we pray this day. We pray for our Commissioner's Court. We pray for Roy Charles Brooks. We pray for Alyssa Simmons. We pray for Tim O'Hara and Gary Fickus and Manny Ramirez. Father, that you will continue to allow them to lead this county in the direction that you would have them to go. Lord, we know that we can only go as far as you take us. So Lord, we're trusting and depending on you to see us through all of what we deal with. So Lord, bless this day like only you can. Bless this meeting. Yes. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to lead Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning, court members. A couple of quick announcements this morning.
Good morning, Chandler.
Good morning, sir. How are you? First of all, I'd like to just take a point of privilege here and introduce our new HR director, Miss Roxy Held, who's sitting right up here at front here. I believe this is day number 5 for our new HR director, so she'll be setting up meetings to come meet with each of the court members individually, just so you get a chance to know her and certainly converse with her on anything that you would certainly like to. A couple of items on the agenda for today. Number 1, under Budget and Risk Management, the consideration of the law enforcement firearms policy. We're going to hold that item until a later date. Under the Administrator Section A11, that item is being pulled from consent due to audience participation.
I'm sorry, start the first one with what letter and number?
Sorry, C1.
C1
Under
off.
Budget and Risk Management.
Okay.
We're not taking action on that item today. And then under the Administrator Section A11, that item is being pulled due to audience participation. And also, court members, L6 under Human Resources, that item is also being pulled from consent due to audience participation.
What was that last one?
Oops,
L.
wrong page, excuse me. L6. It's the Receive and File Tarrant County Sheriff's Department Civil Service Meeting Report.
And C4,
C1.
yeah, no, C4 apparently has a a speaker.
Yes, sir. Sorry, that was not indicated on my notes, but the updated version I have here, I believe we do have an audience participation on that one.
All right.
My apologies for that.
It's all right. So
It's all right,
A11, L6, C4 off consent, C1 off altogether.
Correct.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have any announcements from the Commissioners Court? All right, seeing none, we will move to employee recognition. I will start with calling out the names of our 5-year employees and ask those of you who are here to stand. We appreciate all that every one of you do. We thank you for your service to Tarrant County. So let's start with our 5 years. Tegan Allison, Carmenetta Anderson, Beatrice Arambula, Elizabeth Borchert, Felipe Calzada, Hubert Clark Jr., Damian Crawley, Hillary Dobson, Leonardo Garza III, Christopher Godby, Ann Grady, Ulysses Hernandez, Alan Hicks, Damian James, Rhonda Johnson, Ned Kimball, Caitlin Lopez, Daniel Orth, Samantha Ortiz, Graciela Ovalle, Alfredo Pacina Jr., Cynthia Rivas, Emily Salter, Sarah Saucedo, Andre Sims, Lai Sun Demock, Sierra Thomas, Kai Teo, and David Toner Jr. Thank you all for 5 years.
Good class.
Yes, good. It's a healthy class. We wish you many more. Now for our 10-year employees. First we have Hollis Kate, Tulio Lozada, Joseph Martin, Erica McDavis, Leonardo Vargas Castanon. That's it for our 10-year employees. So thank you very much. Now to our 15-year employees. Danielle Crudup, Al Gibbs, Lisa Harrison, Arthur Jones, and Ashton Williams. Thank you all. 20 years. No, 15. So now we go to the 20. Farzeen Abshari, Joanna Cook. Did you bring your mom with you? There was one round of applause over there. That's pretty good. Joanna Cook, Carlene Homer, Benny Jones, Louis Sevier, and Jennifer Thomas. Hello there. Thank you all very much for 20 years. We appreciate you. 20 years is a long time. All right, now for our 25-year employees. Is John DeAngelis here? Okay, he didn't make it. Well, John, thank you for your 25 years of service. He's a constable in Precinct 3. I believe he's been with the Sheriff's Office as well. Let's give a big round of applause to John. Is Robert Smith with us? Robert, you with us? 25 years of perfect attendance and neither of them show up. How about that? So we're going to read a few things about Robert. He was born in Dallas, went to high school at Mansfield High School, has 3 kids. He's worked for 2 counties, Johnson County and Tarrant County. What he likes to do for fun, road trips with his wife. He has been a BST 2, he is currently a BST 3, and he's been a groundskeeper. His most memorable moment is assisting FEMA and Red Cross when the county provided help to evacuees from Hurricane Katrina in 2005 for 6 to 8 weeks. And what he likes the most, building family-like relationships with coworkers. So Robert Smith, thank you for your 25 years. We appreciate you. All right, next we have Tracy Capsidelis. Tracy, you with us? Well, hi, Tracy. How are you? She is an assistant CDA, born in Alexandria, Louisiana. Went to Bitburg American High School. Got her bachelor's degree at UT San Antonio and her law degree, goodness, at Texas Tech. We okay here? Do we need any help? Okay. All right, obviously not a tech fan. Tracy has one kid, John, and she likes to travel. She's into photography. She likes crafting, and she likes to watch college football. Who's your favorite team?
Depends on the week, but we have tickets to TCU, and I grew up watching Nebraska Huskers.
Texas Longhorns. I love that. Good answer. Good answer. I couldn't hear if she was in the back. So what she likes the most, the bone-crushing hug she gets from an injured party or their family for standing up for them, believing in them, and fighting for them. You do a very valuable job. Thank you very much for your 25 years. All right, next we have Denise Martin. Denise. All right. I see the resemblance. So she is a director for child support services with the Domestic Relations Office, born in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas. Now went to Manhattan High School, but then you didn't go to K-State. Had to get out of town, is that the deal? Yeah. Went to Emporia State University, undergrad, and TCU for her master's. She has 3 kids. Jacob is a graduate of TCU in sports broadcasting, minor in mathematics. He works for the USFL, ESPN, DB Sports, and training to be a pilot. Very cool. Lucas is a graduate of TCU as well, with a dual degree in computer science and mathematics. Works for Bell Helicopter as a software engineer. And Benjamin is a sophomore at TCU studying mechanical engineering. I'm sure you're proud of those kids. In fact, no one knows about her. She's an open book and a little sarcastic. What she likes to do for fun, travel and read. This summer, her husband and her took her mother-in-law to Dublin, Belfast, Liverpool, London, and Paris.
All right.
That's pretty cool. Which one was your favorite of those?
Oh, wow. Probably Belfast.
Okay.
I've been to the others.
Did you go to Giant's Causeway? No? North of there? No? Okay. It was her mother-in-law's first time out of North America. They took their kids to Cabo after the trip with the mother-in-law. And next summer, she's hoping to go to Greece for her 30th wedding anniversary. Well, congratulations on 30 years. That's really cool. Other job titles she's had with the county, all 25 years with child support services and domestic relations. Started as assistant office manager, customer service manager, financial accounts manager, financial and new accounts manager, assistant director, and now director. Worked her way up. Most memorable moment when she found out she was the bell ringer for Tarrant County. About 20 years ago, when her children were young, they didn't know what she did for a living. So her husband went to their school on career days and told them about TCU football. And one day he came to pick her up and had the kids in the car with him. They asked him what she did in the courthouse. She worked at the time in the annex of the old courthouse that's no longer there. He pointed to the clock tower and told them that her job was to climb up the tower and ring the bell every morning. So it was several years later that one of the boys asked if she could come to work with her and see the bell, help her ring the bell. So that was, it took several years before they really knew that. What she likes the most, The jobs in domestic relations affect so many individuals going through the toughest times of their lives. The passion she sees every day from her staff and all the employees of domestic relations that work so hard to ensure the children of these families going through these difficult times have a safe environment to live in and that child support is being paid timely. It amazes her how much they care about their positions so the children have a healthy home with food, shelter, and clothing. She couldn't be prouder of them, and we are proud of you. Thank you for your 25 years. All right, now we move to 30 years. Cheryl Bennett Wright. Are you here with us, Cheryl? Okay, not here with us today. She is criminal court specialty courts manager. She has her master's from TCU, 2 sons, one graduating from Stanford next year, one attending the UT School of Business in Austin. She loves to travel. She's been an assistant criminal courts administrator and a criminal justice analyst. Her most memorable moment was standing in the county administrator's office watching the airplane crash into the Twin Towers on 9/11. And what she likes the most are the amazing people she has had the opportunity to work with. Cheryl, wherever you are today, we greatly appreciate you and 30 years of service to Tarrant County. All right, next we have Lori Hooper. Lori, are you with? Hi, Lori. Lori's been with us 30 years also. You're too young to have been here 30 years. She was born in Callaway, Florida. That's not what the golf club's named after, is it? Okay. Went to Cleburne High School, went to college at Tech. Has 2 kids, Lauren and Ryan. In fact, no one knows about her. She makes a mean green chili with beans or without. Okay. What she likes to do for fun, travel, spend time with family and friends, explore new places and things. Other titles she has had with the county: treatment coordinator and family counselor at Judge Joe Edson Youth Center, attendance coordinator and middle school supervisor at the Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program, resource development and community programs assistant supervisor with Tarrant County Juvenile Services. Most memorable moment: she has enjoyed so many wonderful moments over the last 30 years, it's too difficult to pick one. Her favorite memories have been participating in program graduations, award ceremonies for JPD youth who have successfully completed their program or earned awards and accomplishments. It has been a joy to witness a youth transform themselves with their hard work, resiliency, and to see success, which is not an easy journey. She's honored to work with a department that models excellence in working with youth and families. You sound like you are the perfect person for the job you're in. Thank you for your 30 years of service. All right, next we have Rebecca McIntyre. Hi, Rebecca, how are you? 30 years of service. I shouldn't have probably said she looks too young to have been here 30 years, because now if I don't say that every time, they're going to wonder. So you all look too young to have been here 30 years. She's the assistant DA chief in the asset forfeiture division. Born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Went to high school at Scotlandville Magnet High School in Baton Rouge. Went to college at Baylor with a double major in journalism and marketing management, and then got her JD from Baylor. 2 children. She enjoys spending time with family, loves high school sports, photography, gardening, and decorating. Other things roles she's had in the county. She was on the Tarrant County Narcotics Task Force, worked directly with Judge Clifford Davis in the startup of the Direct Court Drug Treatment Program. She's been in the Family Violence Unit, Juvenile Justice, Crimes Against Children, worked in Wayne Salvant's court, and in Judge Mike Thomas's court. The 371st District Court, Judge Westfall, CDC 3, Judge Catalano, and the 485th, Judge Gonzalez. What she likes the most: she's been blessed to work with many wonderful people, both civilians and law enforcement professionals. She is grateful to all of those who were patient with her and took the time to share their knowledge and wisdom. She will always be grateful for the opportunity Tim Curry gave her when she was hired. He trusted his people, and his standard direction was do the right thing, which pretty much covers every situation. She's worked with many crime victims over the years. She's learned something from all of them, and she's grateful for the relationship she's built with victims and their families, and the opportunity to help them gain some justice and reclaim the part of their life where they were previously victimized. And she's also proud of the criminals who were brought to justice, and even more so of the ones who took advantage of opportunities for change and reform. Thank you for your 30 years of service. Okay, who do we have left? All right, here we go. 30 years. Freddie, is it Wheel? Wild. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you.
So we even know the dates. November 12th, 1994. So we're about a week past your 30-year anniversary. So you are an officer with Tarrant County Sheriff's Office, Judge, Bailiff, County Court Law Number 2. Born in Plainview. High school, Hale Center High School. Went to college at South Plains. You have 2 children. Clinton, who's retired from Arlington PD and is the judge's bailiff in CDC number 3. And Casey, who's a special ed teacher and soccer coach in Graham, Texas. She has 2 state championships. That's really cool. And you have 4 grandchildren. Fact no one knows about him. He was a commercial pilot, a flight instructor, and a test pilot for Pawnee Aircraft Corporation. He did crop dusting. He was a heavy equipment operator with the Army Corps of Engineers and worked for the Grand Prairie Police Department. He retired from the computer industry. My gosh, how many things have you done? Retired from the computer industry 23 years, really? Wow. The area he covered, Texas to the Carolinas, south to Puerto Rico, west to Mexico, and back to Texas. What he likes to do for fun, play golf. He plays the bari saxophone in 2 bands. Fort Worth City Bank and the German Band of North Texas. He plays racquetball. He does woodworking. He is restoring his dad's 73 Chevy truck. Suddenly, I just feel incredibly inadequate as a human. In the past, he has built and flown remote control airplanes. He's a certified scuba diver. He has played the bass drum in the North Texas Drum and Bagpipe Court. And then he has other job titles with the county: bond desk, jailer, dispatch, transportation instructor, the honor guard, warrant department, bailiff, judge's bailiff. Like, y'all know what is that beer ad, the most interesting man in the world? I think we found him. His most memorable moment is the people he has worked with over the years: judges, coordinators, court reporters, and he's really loved working in the old courthouse just because of the incredible history. So thank you very much, Freddie, for your 30 years of service. We appreciate it. And we don't have anything from the last one, but Dwight Franklin from the Sheriff's Office, are you here with us today? Well, Dwight has been with us for 35 years, so I think that's a good close. Dwight, thank you for your 35 years. Can I have a motion to receive and file our employee report? Congratulations. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote. All right, everybody in here, 5-0. Thank you all so much for all your service to Tarrant County. That's a lot of years combined. We greatly appreciate you. And the reception is on the 4th floor. You are all welcome to leave now or stay if you'd like to watch the rest of the proceedings here. But the reception is on the 4th floor, and we appreciate all of you.
included.
Yeah. Okay, next up on our agenda is a resolution. Next up on the agenda is a resolution for Tarrant County Adoption Day. With us today is Kayla Daly, who's the Executive Director of the Tarrant County Bar Association and Tarrant County Bar Foundation. She is present here, I believe. Where are you? There you are. I'll read the resolution into the record. This is for Tarrant County Adoption Day. Families are the cornerstone of our community, nurturing our children who are the future of our country. Children are a precious gift from God, and every child deserves a stable, loving home, providing the foundation for a successful and fulfilling life. Adoption offers children a loving environment in which parents can guide, teach, and provide for a bright future. Every adoption story begins with the compassion to love a child, to care for them unconditionally, and to watch them grow and prosper. The children who are adopted by loving and special families have a new opportunity in life to fulfill their hopes and dreams, and the families entrusted to care for these children receive a lifetime of blessing. We offer our prayers to the children whose adoptions are made final this month and to the wonderful families who will give them unconditional love, forming the bond of the most important institution of our society, family. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby recognize November 22nd, 2024 as Tarrant County Adoption Day. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. All right, it passes unanimously. And let me come down here and present this to you.
Good morning. As Judge O'Hare said, my name is Kayla Daly, and I'm honored to serve as the Executive Director of the Tarrant County Bar Association. Thank you to the Commissioners Court for once again dedicating time to recognize National Adoption Day, an occasion that unites over 400 communities across the nation to celebrate and finalize adoptions from foster care. This year marks the 23rd anniversary of this remarkable day here in Tarrant County, and we have the privilege on Friday of uniting 30 families with 40 children to their forever home. None of this would be possible without the collective efforts of so many dedicated individuals and organizations, and I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to CASA, the Family Law Bar Association, OCOK, the Tarrant County Family Law Courts, the District Clerk's Office, and of course the members of the Tarrant County Bar Association. Their commitment, hard work, and compassion are what make this day so meaningful for the children and the families across the county. We eagerly look forward to Friday's festivities as we honor these families in the transformative power of adoption. And thank you again to the Commissioners Court for your support of National Adoption Day.
Thank you. All right, the next item we have is just to ratify a resolution in honor of the 105th Veterans Day anniversary and Tarrant County Veterans Council recognition. I presented this at the Fort Worth Veterans Day, or it's Tarrant County Veterans Day Parade in Fort Worth. I'll move to ratify.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Next up, we have a congratulatory resolution for Girls Service League, Inc. Commissioner Brooks.
Thank you, Your Honor. The resolution reads as follows. Whereas Girls Service League Incorporated was founded in 1919 to provide vital support and empowerment to young women in need within the community. And whereas since its inception,
Girls Service League has evolved to focus on the educational and professional development of women, having awarded more than $2 million in scholarships to deserving women in Tarrant County. And whereas Girls Service League continues to have a lasting impact by supporting women attending esteemed institutions such as Texas Tech, the University of Houston, Texas A&M, Dallas Baptist, Texas Christian, the University of North Texas, and the University of Texas at Austin. And whereas Girls Service League has empowered thousands of young women through its services, programs, and scholarships, helping them to realize their full potential and make positive contributions to their communities. And whereas Girls Service League's operations are managed by a 9-member board of directors led by President Michelle Benson, whose leadership and dedication ensures the continued success of GSL's mission to empower women through education. And whereas Girls Service League prepares to celebrate its 105th year of service with the launch of its 2025 scholarship application year, and continues to exemplify dedication to the advancement and empowerment of women in Tarrant County. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby recognize and congratulate Girls Service League Incorporated for its 105 years of service, for fostering leadership, education, and service, and extend our appreciation for the organization's continuing commitment to women in Tarrant County. In witness whereof, we have hereunder set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 19th day of November 2024. And with that, Your Honor, I move approval of this resolution.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously.
With us this morning to receive this congratulatory resolution are Michelle Benson, the president of the Girls Service League, Paula Schneider, treasurer, and Phyllis Burton Jenkins, secretary. Ladies, if you join me at the podium, please.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you all commissioners for this opportunity. We truly appreciate your taking time to recognize this wonderful organization. The Girls Service League initiated as Women Who Lunch back in 1919, during a time where women were not even allowed to use their own name to sign for accounting or for checks or to have a bank account. We have had many opportunities, and the Girls Service League actually used to own the Thistle Hill Mansion. That is the last home that we owned, we sold to continue our work. As we continue our work this year, part of our 2025 scholarships have now extended to include students who are registering for trade school. We currently sponsor 15 young ladies 4 years scholarships, so the scholarships renew every year to pay their tuition. This year we will be adding 30 additional young women. So we thank you, we appreciate your recognition, and we are looking forward to the next 100 years of service.
All right, that concludes our resolutions and proclamations section. Next up, we have the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion there? All right, please cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Next up, we have, should be item 10A1, consideration of a resolution casting votes for the election of Tarrant Appraisal District Board of Directors. I would like to make a motion to cast all of Tarrant County's votes for Vince Puente.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. All right, it passes 4-1. Next is item A2, consideration of Tarrant County 911 Emergency Assistance District's fiscal year 2025 budget.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this item. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Next up, item 3, consideration of a letter of intent to Stillwater Capital LLC for the purchase of 5.7 acres of land located at the northeast corner of Heritage Parkway and Regency Parkway in Mansfield.
That's correct, Judge and Commissioner. So this item would be the first in a series of items with regards to the purchase of land and the intent to construct a new sub-courthouse in Mansfield at the defined location. This would replace the sub-courthouse that we currently reside in on Broad Street. And speaking of the City of Mansfield, we have a representative from the City of Mansfield here to provide some additional information on the subject.
Judge, Commissioners, thank you for having us. My name is Jason Moore. I'm the Executive Director for the City of Mansfield Economic Development Corporation. I've seen you before. We appreciate your partnership in the past with the various tax increment reinvestment zones. Most recently, you helped us with TERS number 4. We had voters approve a stadium for Type A funds, which is our sales tax for the MEDC, the Economic Development Corporation. And the voters approved the use of those, and that started this TERS number 4 on the east side of 360. So the reason I'm here today, we just approved a master development agreement with Stillwater Capital for about 130 acre plus development. This property is currently zoned as part of a planned development zoning about 20 years ago when it was originally zoned. There was several sub-districts within that PD. It covered massive acreage, over 500 to 1,000 acres. And that reserved PD allowed for multifamily, light industrial, various sub-districts. And so with this master development agreement that City Council approved at the last meeting, we did also formalize the purchase of 9 acres for City Hall. So City Hall for Mansfield will be moving to Heritage and Regency in this particular development. So I also want to just give a little context of why that was the case. Why did the City of Mansfield do that, and offer any context of development projects within this district. So as we're moving forward with our economic development strategic plan, we're looking at higher paying jobs, as well as meeting the needs of our current residents. 93% of our residents leave the city to go work somewhere else. A lot of the jobs that we are trying to bring in and attract are those type of jobs that our residents are currently in. We are looking beyond just the borders as part of our recruitment efforts. We have several global companies within Mansfield, and so our attraction and recruitment campaigns go beyond Mansfield itself. We align our target industries with that of the governor, with the Economic Development Department of the state. These are all higher paying jobs. These are the future of workforce and AI, and where our highly skilled residents are looking to be employed. So as we're recruiting these companies, we've really focused along Heritage Parkway between 287 and 360. We call it the link. It's a LINQ, so we play on the words with the IQ being the innovation corridor for the city. We have worked with Texas A&M and the Engineering Extension Service to formalize this area as the hub for innovation for North Texas. So we partner with universities and these type of target industries to bring these types of jobs to Mansfield. If we look at the growth over the last 20 plus years in this particular area, you can see, and really what happened was when the Regional Transportation Council approved the 360 corridor toll road. When that road was unlocked and that North Texas Toll Authority began moving forward with the toll road there, you can see where the development has occurred on that side. That's helped Grand Prairie, Arlington, and Mansfield along this corridor. And we're not just talking about subdivisions and residential, but commercial development, which is what we have an interest in. And this is just that corridor here. These are the projects that have yielded the move to City Hall over into the reserve. And I'll just touch on these really briefly, but you can see the kind of projects that Mansfield's been focused on. We have Class A office. It's a 150,000 square foot, 5-story office building. This is actually the northwest corner of Regency and Heritage. So it'll be starting construction next year. It'll be right across the street from where the City Hall will go. This project will partner with universities and private industries in the R&D and biotech healthcare industries. Just across the street, we have Cellmark Innovation Park. They're an existing company, probably the best success story in Mansfield. They started in their garage and are now a global company selling products through Pulsar and different equipment with public safety and Department of Defense. They're actually moving forward with an expansion to include incubation space for advanced manufacturers, including a firearm training center for both the public and for private use. And then right across the street from there, just to the west, is Heritage Park, another Class A office seeking corporate services, and a Courtyard Marriott. These projects will start construction right after the first of the year. And then this is the development on the question of your agenda today, the canals at the reserve with Stillwater. This is a 138 plus acre development. If you think about the South Lake Town Square and where that was in the 90s and what the catalyst for that development, how that took place was the town hall facility and county facilities being the anchor for that development. Stebbins and Cooper moved forward. They got a tax increment finance district set up, and the rest is history. You see South Lake Town Center today. This is roughly just slightly larger than that footprint of South Lake Town Center. Stillwater Capital partnered with PGA Frisco. They brought the PGA to Frisco. They built the Omni Hotel. This is the type of caliber of developer that we're working with on this project. So it's going to provide immense public realm space with canals, ponds, and public parks, as well as corporate office and those types of advanced technology and healthcare jobs that we've been looking for. It's a master plan of the development. You see the canals and the park that lead directly to City Hall towards the bottom right of the screen. These are the 9 acres that the city bought with 2 private parcels that MEDC will be working with private development partners to develop. These will be office, hotel, or retail restaurant uses. They're non-residential uses. The property just to the east, where it says 18.2, that was contemplated in this particular master plan by Stillwater for where that county location could co-locate. This is the image of City Hall. This is moving forward. It'll start construction next year. So this is just a schematic design. And then Staybolt Street. As mentioned at the beginning, you guys partnered with Mansfield on TERS number 4 earlier this year. We have a participation agreement. And it's the northern half of this particular development. Basically everything from number 7 and north, 1, 2, 6, 3, and 4, is under construction today. Number 7 is a data center, and then all the infrastructure and such that the county is participating on. Again, the voters approved the use of our sales tax to go toward a professional stadium. We're partnering with Rev Entertainment and FC Dallas on this particular stadium. It's not a Globe Life Park or something of that magnitude. It's 7,000 seats, but it fills a niche for professional sports in this market. We've also partnered with a large hotel and conference center. We had David Cook, our state representative, assist us with getting Mansfield added to the qualified hotel program. So state funding from state hotel occupancy tax as well as state sales tax within this district will come back, and that helps pay for the conference center as well as the parking structure. And so those are state funds that come back. The city is not incentivizing this particular project. This is an image of the conference center. And then this is also an office tower with medical uses, so it's sports medicine based development. So these are the projects that are coming into Heritage, and this is why the city did this. So we just wanted to offer that context for the Commissioners Court. I can answer any questions if you have any. I'm happy to help.
Any questions for him from the court? All right, do we have anything from the staff?
Nothing additional, sir, unless there's additional questions from the court members. We have myself and Mr. Amador on standby should y'all have any questions.
Chandler, I've got a couple questions.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he brought up South Lake Town Square. One question that I had, and I was a little surprised to see this on the agenda because we hadn't discussed this since we had looked at plans for renovating the other building and the rest. So I wasn't under the impression that we were going forward with this project at all. So surprised to see it today. But were there ever any discussions with the city of Mansfield as far as utilizing maybe a shared use space like they do in South Lake? One of my biggest concerns for building brand new sub-courthouses, I mean, this is the reason why in our precinct we only have one, is with emerging technology, I mean, the need for all of that space may not be there in 10, 15, 20 years. And so collaborating with other government agencies to fill space might be a more wiser tactic. I don't know if you had conversations with Mansfield.
Not that I'm aware of. I'm going to look at Mr. Amador really quick to make sure I'm correct. We haven't had, okay, so there have been no conversations to our knowledge with regards to co-locating as we do in South Lake.
Okay, on this particular parcel, you know, paying $550,000 an acre, you know, you're essentially paying what a private sector price might be for another user that would want to come in there. I just don't understand. I mean, I understand the vision of wanting to have a municipal complex, but if that's the case, why not partner with the city of Mansfield to make it a reality as opposed to doing two separate things on two separate tracks? That's my question.
Sure. So to your point's well taken. If that's something that the court is, court as a whole is interested in, if that's the direction, we're more than happy to go and have those conversations with City of Mansfield to see if something like that makes sense.
So I would to answer your question, our Mansfield subcourthouse, for example, is extremely busy. I think each entity needs its own space. They can talk about their space needs, and I can talk to you about the space needs that we have in the Mansfield subcourthouse, and probably all of the elected officials that are housed there can talk to you about that as well. It's just not suitable. Our facilities and our administrators can talk to you about it too. So co-locating, I think we know now the amount of space that each sub-courthouse needs. I think Mr. Amador, what's the square footage?
For the Mansfield sub-courthouse?
No, that you like to have all sub-courthouses.
So the space study, which we did a couple of years ago, based on input surveys from each of the departments that are in those sub-courthouses, estimated that the need would be approximately 45,000 square feet per sub-courthouse.
Okay. And so I'm not sure if the city would be interested in sharing space, but if you looked at the drawings, you could see that both facilities are close by. So.
No, I understand that. The other facility in Mansfield, the current courthouse, is only 19 years old. And so, I mean, that's well within a useful life. I mean, you usually plan these things for 40 or 50. And so a complete wholesale replacement doesn't make much sense. Maybe you could find some efficiencies, or we could find some efficiencies by partnering on any additional space we needed down there. Maybe put the JP down there at City Hall, and all the rest of the operations remain at the other courthouse. When you look around the state at models, I mean, Bexar County, each commissioner has one sub-courthouse, and then their primary facility is the downtown location. When you look at Dallas County, it's similar. They've got one sub-courthouse each. I know historically in Tarrant County, there have been multiple, but even, say in Commissioner Fickus' precinct, the shared use space, that's the South Lake Town Hall, where they do split space with the city. I'm just saying, instead of, trying to expand, and I wouldn't say expand government, because I don't think you want to hire anybody else. Right. Instead of trying to expand our footprint, we should look for efficiencies if it's possible. I just don't know if we've even entertained those discussions.
Yes.
And, paying $3.5 million or $3.1 million for a parcel of land, and then following on having to pay $40 to $50 million for a building that right now would replace something that's only 19 years old. That doesn't seem, unless we've got additional justification, doesn't seem reasonable.
Yeah, and facilities can talk to you a lot better than I can, but I've been in the facility for a couple of years. And so you can talk about the age of the building, or you can talk about the issues in the building, plumbing, odors from the sewage, the plumbing, the foundation, the windows that leak from the top, the HVAC and chiller outages, all of this, on and on and on. We can spend money on repairs. We can keep doing that. Everybody that has paid attention to this facility does not understand why it was constructed the way it was constructed and why the due diligence wasn't done ahead of time. So absolutely, we can stay there. It's packed, crowded. Most sub-courthouses, as you know, are crowded at a certain time of the month. Ours is crowded all times. We don't have places for people to sit. During early voting, I think we had 6 trip and falls because of the uneven sidewalks and the cracks. This building is, it needs to be replaced or totally remodeled. And when you look at the cost of replacement is the same as the cost for remodeling. So it just makes sense to consider a new facility. Plus, we just heard from Mansfield, and so this purchase would be in support of our partner's economic vision, which should be our economic development vision, and that's by keeping tax dollars in Tarrant County. So
I would assume
bringing and keeping them here.
I would assume that the economic development folks would want a private business on that 6-acre parcel that actually pays taxes instead of a government facility.
All right, so I have some comments. Currently in Precinct 1, with 2 sub-courthouses, there's 82,000 square feet of sub-courthouses. Currently in Precinct 2, there's almost 86,000 square feet of sub-courthouses. Building a new building, forgetting the cost for a moment, would bring that total to almost 100,000 square feet of sub-courthouses in Precinct 2. Precinct 3 has 58,000 square feet of sub-courthouses. If you want to call the South Lake Town Square a sub-courthouse, that's 14,000 feet for the for the county. And of that 14,000, I don't know how big the office is that Gary used to use, that I come in and meet people at 2, maybe 3 times a month tops. But there's probably 2,500 square feet up there, 2,000 at least, that's basically unused. Precinct 4 has 58,000 square feet. So I don't believe it's a good use of taxpayer funds to go build a new building on something that's 2 decades old. This building here is, I think, 40 years old. There is no second sub-courthouse in Precinct 4. And I'm not suggesting we go remodel this or go build a new one of these, nor am I suggesting we build a new sub-courthouse in Precinct 4. There are a multitude of ways to address overcrowding using technology, using virtual waiting lines. There's a number of ways to deal with this. In addition, we approved 2 months ago, without any objection of any kind from anyone, $250,000 to repair the foundation, a new chiller, replacing the revolving doors, a new emergency generator. And this location that we're talking about, I don't think we serve Johnson County residents, but this location that we're talking about is literally, as the crow flies, a mile from the Johnson County line, 1.5 miles if you have to take roads. So there are opportunities to consolidate your office from 2 buildings to 1. There's a back corridor at the Mansfield Sub-Courthouse rarely used, including the vacated juvenile office space. There's a number of ways we can go look at this. I don't know if this is being rushed through for some reason, but this is not a good use of taxpayer dollars at this point. And the Mansfield development, we've already partnered with them on the TIF. And that thing can go whether we have a building there or not. So for all those reasons, I'm going to make a motion to deny this item.
Second.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Okay. I don't think this is being rushed. I got elected, came to this building to meet with GK at the time. First time meeting. First thing he said to me when I sat there is, you need to build a new Mansfield Sub-Courthouse. I went, okay, nice to meet you too. So I don't think it's being rushed. They have been saving money, and Helen can help me with the time frame. They've been saving money to build this facility since
Approximately 2020, I think, is when we started putting it aside.
Yeah,
Maybe
since
earlier than that.
since 2020. The southeast sector of the county, the population growth is skyrocketing. So combining sub-courthouses or having one sub-courthouse is absolutely out of the question. And I think every elected official in here that offices in those that has offices and services in those sub-courthouses will back that up. You cannot have one location, and you can't have a tiny location that is frustrating and not serving the folks. This was not my idea. I think they start saving when, actually, they start talking about this when Andy was commissioner and then Commissioner Allen. So this has nothing to do with me, but it has to do with serving our constituents out in Precinct 2 in Mansfield, which is, the growth is exploding. So if you're not interested in providing or enhancing our services out there, just say that. But that's all this is about. We approved those repairs. It was against, I said, don't repair it. Just let the thing fall apart. Because we're going to be paying to repair and repair and repair. You can make a fix on the foundation that might last 10 years, but your plumbing, everything else, your HVAC, everything else is shoddy. So this is not about me. And like I heard last night at Commissioner Fickus's dinner, roads, bridges, airports, and certainly sub-courthouses should not be Republican or Democrat.
Certainly, the issue here is how to provide the best services for the people of Tarrant County. It's not about any one commissioner. It's about infrastructure. The sub-courthouse in Mansfield, by anybody's analysis or estimation, is substandard. The foundation is not solid. It causes shifts in the building that continually cause separation of the sewer pipes under the building that allow for noxious odors to permeate the building. This is not an environment that speaks well for Tarrant County and the environment in which we deliver services to the people of Tarrant County. The people of Tarrant County deserve better than this facility. It was not a good design when it was built. It was not a good construction program when it was built. And therein lies the problem. The problem was 20 years ago, and the decision to rush and build a sub-courthouse on land that was not properly stabilized, to build a building on a foundation that was not properly designed to sit on the soil, where it was to be built. And now the chickens have come home to roost. We've got to do something about that building. To compare it to the sub-courthouse, to compare it to the facility in South Lake is not an apples to apples comparison. That's not a sub-courthouse in South Lake. It's not a full-service facility. It does not contain space for every county department that would deliver services to the publics that we serve. The issue is not the building in South Lake. The issue is the building in Mansfield and the fact that it is substandard and does not represent Tarrant County well. The question is, what are we going to do about it?
I will agree with you that the issue is completely about infrastructure. That there's no partisan lean at all. This is about making sound business decisions. And in my mind, if we've not run all of the options to ground, or even looked at the options, or looked at what technology advancement might do to our space needs in the next 10 or 15 years. I mean, I was told the exact same thing by GK, Commissioner Simmons. He says, Commissioner, you need another sub-courthouse. You only have one. You need to look up there near Haslett. That was his, and I said, well, wait a second, let me look at it. I mean, our sub-courthouse, I will not argue with you, it functions much better than Mansfield's. We've got additional space, the planning was better, but mine is 14 years old. So we're roughly nearly the same age as the courthouse, but we have one. And we serve our citizens very, very well there. in precinct 4. And if they can't get to the courthouse in precinct 4, they'll go to the 1 and 3. I mean, it works. And so my point is, it efficiently works in our precinct with 1. I have no designs on building another one. So I guess I can't understand why it wouldn't work with 1 plus a satellite, or with the 2 you have plus repairs and maybe a satellite. That's what I'm saying, is I don't think that we've properly vetted all of the options. This purchase agreement or this LOI on land came out of nowhere. The last time we talked about it was when we were talking about space needs, and Amador brought it up here. I've not heard a cricket about it since. And so now we've got an LOI here, and I've not heard any additional options, or even heard that any additional options were vetted. I don't want to recreate the same problem Commissioner Brooks just said, rushing to build us a courthouse that in 20 years may be obsolete.
So, again, this staff has vetted each and every option through and through. And so I expected a presentation today, so I'm a bit surprised that there was not one from the county administrator and facilities and budget. We've met repeatedly to discuss this. And so I understand your position. If this was not walked around and you were talked to about this, I would be in the same position as you, and I have been before. Where did this come from? But I've met with these folks over and over, and more recently 2 or 3 times, and I fully expected a presentation to see the breakdown in numbers, because like you, that's what I would want to see. I have that information, and they were supposed to walk it around to each of you guys or email it to you in advance. So I'm not sure what happened there, and it's not being presented here today. The cost to renovate and repair, they should have those numbers. There should be a presentation up on the screen. The cost to purchase new land. So I know the numbers are about the same because they shared the numbers with me and my staff. So I'm not sure what happened to the presentation today, but you keep talking about the ages of your facility and the Mansfield Sub-Courthouse. Again, it's about how those were constructed. It's about the issues. It's not just about the age of the sub-courthouses. You can build a crappy building. Look at AT&T Stadium. They got shit falling down from the deal. I mean, and it's a $1 billion recently constructed building. So
do you think they ought to tear that one down?
That question is not germane to this discussion. I'm talking to him. So if you guys would probably like to take a tour, visit, or look at the issues out there, I think we'd be happy to show you around.
I think the issues, the wait times, the facility condition, I mean, I think it's well established. I mean, I don't argue anything you've said. My point is, on a solution, I can't wrap my mind around the fact that the most efficient and effective solution is to build a new sub-courthouse on land that we're paying private sector prices to purchase. Now, if we had an agreement with City of Mansfield, all of this was done more efficiently in collaboration, those are the types of things that I could say, this makes sense. I mean, otherwise, we could find land and build it in a less expensive area. I mean, you can, or look at consolidation with the Arlington Courthouse. Like, there's a lot of different things to think about that I just think we've said the only route is a new courthouse, and nobody's taken a stab at the other directions. Again, when you look at other models, not just in my precinct, but in precincts across the state in different counties, there's not a sub-courthouse every 5 miles. There's not a expansive infrastructure of sub-courthouses. per some of these counties, and so they function just as well as we do when it comes to delivering service. So I don't think that's I'm just trying to find the most efficient way to do it for the county at large. Because in our populations, I mean, we need to study where those have gone, because our populations are roughly apportioned very similarly. So the articulation to say Southeast Tarrant County is growing, well, so is Northwest Tarrant County.
So the population, I think the population growth in different areas are different. So you have a lot of population growth out in Mansfield, Arlington, not quite as much. So it's different. I'm just trying to
point out that the population density in Precinct 2 is tremendously higher than the population density in any other precinct except Precinct 3.
And we've got a measle map to show it to you. I mean, the density is crazy out there. And today's prices for that land will not be tomorrow's prices. And so this is a good opportunity. It's a great collaboration with the city of Mansfield. It's not, with regard to the planning of the land, it's not terribly much different than South Lake, except we would have a full-fledged sub-courthouse to serve all those people along that 360 corridor that come from Arlington, Tarrant County side of Grand Prairie, and Mansfield. It's not just for Mansfield.
Did you have something you would like to say, Mary Louise?
I just want to advocate for my team members in the community in Mansfield. Commissioner Fickus, Commissioner Ramirez, Judge O'Hare. It smells out there. It really smells out there. And I don't believe any of you would want that in your sub-courthouses. That's the only thing I'm advocating for. Whatever you guys decide, that's your business. But please, please commit to fixing the smell. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, please cast your vote. All right, my motion passes 3-2. All right, next up, item number 4, consideration of the First Amendment to interlocal agreement between Tarrant County and the Tarrant County ESD District for the provision of administrative services.
Move for approval.
Second. Any discussion?
Yes. I ask that this item be pulled from the consent agenda so that I can make some comments about it. Under this proposed interlocal agreement, the Emergency Services District would operate entirely outside of the control of Tarrant County. All that Tarrant County would do would be to appoint the members of the board. This is not the model that we have in even the hospital district, where Tarrant County appoints the board, approves the budget, and sets the tax rate. That is the level of control that Tarrant County needs to exercise on all agencies that are a part of Tarrant County government. To cut this agency loose and let them just float free and do whatever the heck they want to do without any oversight from Tarrant County government is folly. It's not good public policy, and I won't support it.
Commissioner, I would say, I think kind of laugh about this. I agree with you 100%. But I'll say this, we're limited, and I know the board members that have worked on this and their interim executive director and the rest, we're limited by state statute. We have no authority by state law to control an independent ESD board. And so providing these services to them is the only measure of control to have, to make sure that the priorities of the folks in the ESD covered areas in unincorporated Tarrant County, the direction is followed. So the control exerted is through board appointments. But as far as official control, I mean, if you had a model that helped us maintain that, I think everybody here would be all ears, because what we want is to make sure that efficient and effective fire protective services is administered throughout the unincorporated area. And you and I have the most unincorporated area of service. So I do think that there's no easy call here. The reason I support it is because county admin has worked on it very hard with that ESD board. But again, that ESD board, we don't set their tax rate by state law. We don't have any control over their objectives and priorities by state law. They are an independent taxing entity created by the citizens of Tarrant County. They're no different than an ISD school district at this point. So that's the only reason why I support this ILA, is that it gives us some measure of input by having administrative services.
So, Commissioner, go ahead.
I disagree with your characterization. The hospital district is also an independent agency. Yet we exercise a certain level of control. The same level of control that we have exercised over the ESD until the proposal of this new interlocal agreement. I know that the administrator's office tried long and hard to maintain the current model of supervision, and the ESD just refused to comply. I don't agree. I won't vote for it. It's wrong. Bad public policy.
So one of the things that I learned about the ESD when I got here was no one in the public follows it, pays attention to it. They set a tax rate 2 years ago by literally one phone call to county administration and said, what do you want the tax rate to be? It was given, and then that's the tax rate they voted on and approved without any of us ever knowing it. So one of the things that I have put inside that, the only thing I've put inside it is that they must notify the Commissioner's Court of any proposed increase to the tax rate over the no new revenue rate with enough notice where we can notify the public. I still think whether this passes, doesn't pass, when this is said and done, the public in general is still not going to pay attention to this board. And I think it's incumbent upon us to make sure, A, we're putting the right board members on, but B, that we make sure the public knows if they are to go try to increase taxes, so the public can weigh in on it and have a discussion. So for that reason, I support it. All right, any other discussion?
Megan, can you explain to me what this is? Because I'm trying to figure out why the county is getting involved in the ESD when the law states the ESD board controls and operates the district.
Understood, and I think historically, to Commissioner Brooks's point, we have had a more robust, agreement with them. That was something that previous staff developed. This ESD board and staff worked with the ESD board. This is their level of comfort. There's a staff member out there at the fire marshal's office that assists with administrative support for the ESD. And this covers that administrative support for the ESD and also allows them to have some office space. And that's the limit of the agreement. That's what they asked for assistance with.
Are we hiring an executive director?
Correct. The ESD is hiring an executive director.
The ESD is hiring an executive director.
Yes, ma'am.
So the executive director will hire employees. So the executive director will work for whom?
The executive director works for the ESD.
ESD.
Correct. We do not supply their salary or have any say into what the executive director does with the ESD.
Okay, so presumably they will hire staff or a staffer or something.
If they so choose. Yes, ma'am.
That person will work for
The ESD.
the ESD. And the administrator's office will, what role will it have with the ESD if this passes?
At this point, philosophically, what we asked the ESD board is what administrative services would you like us to support? So the initial agreement we came up with mirrored what had been in practice in the past, just trying to get everything on paper. This board had said we want to be more independent and handle, basically control more of our own destiny. So the only thing we're supporting right now is what they have requested of us. And ultimately, they've requested three things of us. One, they've asked for office space for their executive director that I believe they intend to hire, as well as meeting space for the ESD board meetings to continue out where they have at the fire marshal's office. And they have asked for half of, or 20 hours a week approximately, from a employee of the county that is paid for half by the county and half by the ESD board.
I don't give a fat rat's patoot about the comfort level of the ESD board with county oversight. County oversight is our responsibility. And for them to not feel comfortable and want to be more independent, that's their problem. Our problem is to provide good government oversight. And this agreement does not provide that.
Who approves your tax rate?
The ESD board does.
That's the problem, is everything, the control measures that this court was able to exert in the past, it was never written down. It was all informal. Here's a handshake. You tell us what tax rate you want. You tell us what contracts and providers and whatever, and we'll do it. But as Randy retired, the new ESD board came on, I mean, that's where they've been. They've said, we want this
But
new
that's
level
what
of
statute
autonomy.
says, right?
Statute says we have no control.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on this item. Any other discussion?
What is the motion?
The motion was to approve the First Amendment to the interlocal agreement, was it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we previously passed an interlocal agreement.
That's correct.
Yeah. All right, any other discussion? Okay, please cast your votes. All right, it passes 3-2. Brings us to consideration of out-of-state travel requests. I'll move to approve that.
Second.
Any discussion on the out-of-state travel? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. Are you off? You good? Passes unanimously. Now that brings us to A11 from consent, which is probably not consideration of risk management minutes, is it?
No.
Consideration of amendments to subrecipient agreements with Alliance Child and Family Solutions, AIDS Outreach Center, Presbyterian Night Shelter, Texas Health Research and Education Institute, United Way, My Health, My Resources, and the UNT Health Science Center.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, read bills. Read bills present. Okay, make sure that's A11. Yes. Okay, we have a motion and a second. No discussion. Please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. Item C1 has been removed, but there is one speaker on C1, Bishop Kirkland. Say it one more time. Okay. Takes us to C4. Which is removed from consent. It's a consideration of a contract between Tarrant County and MHMR for the Law Liaison Program. I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Nan Terry.
Thank you. The Law Liaison Program has been a part of Tarrant County for many years. Taxpayers can be proud of this program. Local law enforcement officers across the county may call 24 hours a day and get in touch with a behavioral health or mental health expert. I appreciate staff making sure we get these grants to continue this program. Thank you. The background information says MHMR will continue to provide behavioral health and disability services through this program. Exhibit D of the contract calls for several items, including bulletproof vests. If you look at the MHMR website, the mental health liaison description provides 24/7 telephone support for law enforcement officers in Tarrant County. This program provides officers with a therapeutic alternative to incarceration services, including follow-up health and wellness checks, advocacy, and training for local law enforcement. This morning, MHMR confirmed that they provide both ride-along and phone support. Thank you. Took out my jokes about 24/7 phone support wearing bulletproof vests, but that's all good.
I knew that's where you were going.
But I would ask that we review these grant programs. Do we know how many people have been provided therapeutic alternatives to incarceration services? Have we asked the parties involved, could we do things differently, better? Are the MHMR employees or the law enforcement officers or the families of individuals or those suffering during a mental health crisis given an opportunity to critique these programs? Also, are there incidents where a situation could have been resolved without incarceration had this program been utilized? Could money have been saved? Settlements been avoided? For example, persons that have died in the custody of Tarrant County Jail come to mind are Robert Miller, Georgia Baldwin, perhaps Anthony Johnson. I don't know, but have we looked? What about the other deaths or the injuries or persons booked in the county jail but later transferred to the jail diversion center? Could they have utilized this program instead? I would encourage reviews of this program to see if improvements can be made, if more therapeutic alternatives to incarceration can be utilized. Could this program provide data that could be used to show Tarrant County needs more therapeutic alternatives to incarceration, like a state hospital or an emergency respite facility for those in a mental health crisis? I appreciate the staff working on this program, including those who support the program and get the grants and provide oversight. And thank you for the success of this program. Let's make it better. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? All right, please cast your votes. All right, passes unanimously. Brings us to elections. Canvass the results of the general election held on November 5th, 2024. Mr. Ludwig.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Before I get to asking you all to canvass the results, I wanted to take the opportunity, since I kind of have a captive audience at this point, to recognize the efforts of the entire election team and what we accomplished this year. And when I say election team, I'm not just talking about my department. We're talking about everybody from the individual poll worker all the way to the various county departments, the administrator's office, IT, purchasing, budget. In fact, you all giving us the tools and the things that we needed to pull this off, because it is a tremendous effort in what we did. Our elections, if you just look at registered voters, Our election was bigger than 16 states. And we're just a county. And kind of give you some perspective. And some fun numbers here of what we accomplished this cycle. So absentee voting, we had just over 32,000 requests for absentee ballots. 2020, we had 90,000, so we were far down from 2020 in the requests. But we had an 88% return rate this year versus 79% in 2020. During early voting, we processed over 630,000 voters. That's an average of 52,000 voters a day. The heaviest day in early voting in 2020 was just over 50,000, and we averaged more than that. We, on the final day of early voting, we did over 64,000 voters. That's 7 voters a minute per location for a 12-hour day. 7 voters a minute, a 12-hour day, election workers making $15 and $18 an hour. It's very impressive what we were able to accomplish when we all worked together here. And then election day, over 160,000 people showed up to vote. In 2020, it was about 102,000. We were processing 40 voters an hour at our locations on election day. So it was quite an election. We had quite a turnout, lots of people there to cast their votes. And it takes a small army to accomplish this. We used, in the course of this election, over 3,300 temporary employees to make this thing happen. Just the pay period that included election day, my staff, which 39 of them are hourly so they can get overtime, worked over $71,000 in overtime in a pay period. So we were busy, we did a lot, but we accomplished a lot, and I'm very, very proud to have been the person that you all chose to do this. I'm not sure I'm going to say I'm thankful yet, give me a couple days, but it was a great effort, and I wanted to recognize everybody's efforts because everybody that's here helped support this and make this happen.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? It was your first general election, presidential, and I would say, from my perspective, well done. I think we had very few issues.
So having said that, I would ask that the court canvass the results of the general election held on November 5th, 2024.
Move approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to canvass the results of the general election held on November 5th, 2024. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Thank you, sir. All right, next we have the last item removed from consent, which is item L6. L6 is receiving and filing the Tarrant County Sheriff's Department Civil Service Meeting Report of October 7th. I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Terry.
Sorry to bother you again. Thank you for allowing me to speak on this matter. The sheriff and I may not agree on many things, but we do agree on the termination of Mr. Moreno and Mr. Garcia. I also support the rule of law and the procedures to allow the continuance and the abatement of each case. No doubt this was a difficult process and will continue to be challenging for the employees involved with the hearings of these cases, but I thank these employees for their continued service. I doubt that the civil service rules allow for money to be discussed, and I'm not suggesting a change in rules. But as a taxpayer, we are spending a lot of money and time as a result of the actions of Mr. Garcia and Mr. Moreno. Lest you forget, Mr. Moreno and Mr. Garcia have been indicted for murder while working in the Tarrant County Jail. The lack of up-to-date policies and training may indicate mismanagement of the jail. Time will tell. If history is any indicator, the taxpayers will spend a great deal more money because of the actions of Mr. Moreno and Mr. Of their actions they took as Tarrant County employees. How many people have asked, would Anthony Johnson be alive today if Mr. Moreno or Mr. Garcia had not been on duty that day? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Brings us to purchasing. I would ask all the commissioners to see if they have any questions on items 1 through 12.
Move approval of items 1 through 12.
All right, I'll second that. So we have a motion to approve purchasing items R1 through 12. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. Then that brings us to number 13, permission to take bids and RFPs. I know there's a couple of different questions from folks here, so fire away.
On item A, is this for fiscal year 2026 or?
No, we're going to go ahead and start the process right away. We've already started working on the RFP for...
For 2026, right?
No, for this fiscal year.
2025. Oh, okay. All right. That kind of caught me off guard. Okay, thank you.
Can somebody just explain to me why it costs $425,000 to replace gym doors?
These are multiple doors on various floors within the correction center.
I had the same question.
Obviously, being a jail, it's not wooden bathroom doors or your closet, but how many doors are we talking, and why does this get so high? Like, is this really what we think it will cost, or is this?
That's what we think it'll cost, Judge. These are the gym doors. They're detention grade doors. That's what makes it so costly.
How many?
I believe it's 26 doors.
Oh.
All the various pods through it. The
Okay.
doors are original to the building.
Gotcha. All right, thank you. And then on item F, I can't remember exactly how it went down, but I think the district clerk was getting rid of file cabinets, or the tax assessor was, and then they worked together and figured out, oh no, I'll take yours. On this $79,569 worth of chairs and file cabinets, have we done an exhaustive search to make sure there's not other ones sitting in the building? Like, for example, that South Lake Subcourthouse, or whatever you want to call that thing, there were a bunch of file cabinets in there that were empty. There's probably 6 of them. I had facilities take them and go put them to use somewhere else. We certainly weren't using them. Have we done that with this?
Yes, the sheriff's office has gone out to the warehouse to search for files.
Okay, that's a different question.
I'm sorry.
That's one thing. I'm saying, has facilities or administration, not the sheriff's office doesn't know what's at public health, and they don't know what's at courthouse B. Has anybody gone and done that before we just say, yeah, okay, go ahead, $80,000 for that? Besides, they went to the warehouse. Has anybody done anything else?
I'm not aware of any search for that. Mike, anything? No.
Okay, so I don't know how many file cabinets we're talking about
They're
here.
just 8.
Yeah, but one of the things that I think we could do a better job of doing as a county is, I don't think I've ever seen an email go around to everybody that works here, department heads, elected officials, whatever, and say, do you have any items that are unused? So just that one example of that small office space in South Lake, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there were 5 really large 3-drawer filing cabinets that just weren't used. And so we should do that. I'm not going to vote against it on this, but before we actually go purchase these, we need to develop, in my opinion, a program where we are exhausting all possible resources instead of just going buying new things and having stuff in offices. Maybe that office I'm describing is the only one that's like that. I don't know. But I think it would be a good thing for us to go do, where we are checking with sub-courthouses and elected officials' offices and buildings, what do we have that's unused? A thorough review of that, maybe on an annual basis, maybe every 2 years, just so we'll know what we have. Okay? All right, any other questions on this?
Yeah, on those file cabinets for the sheriff's office, I'm not opposed to 8 file cabinets. It would be helpful if y'all would put some of this in the description. So if you're talking about 26 doors for the jail, that price makes more sense. If you're talking about 8 file cabinets, who cares so much? But when I visited the jail, it's been a while, they were in the process of digitizing all the fingerprint files, which they had file cabinets full of fingerprints. Do you happen to know where they might be in that process? Could those file cabinets be available? I didn't know we were talking about 8 file cabinets, or I wouldn't have asked. But what happened to all those file cabinets?
I can check with the sheriff's office.
Okay. And on the annual contract for cars, pickups, trucks, SUVs, did you get quotes for EVs?
Yes, that will be part of the bid. This will be a new annual contract.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
All right, any other questions on this?
Move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Brings us up to, we don't have anything for transportation, do we? No. All right, brings us to appointments to various boards. I would like to make a motion to appoint Roxy Held to the PEBC board to take the place of Tina Glenn.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on that. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Sorry, Roxy.
Your Honor, I have several appointments to make. To the Human Services Advisory Committee, at their request, Gina Walker, who is the Chief Program Officer for Grapevine Relief and Community Exchange. And there are 5 TIF appointments. TIF 3, I appoint Commissioner Brooks. TIF 12, Jeanette Martinez. TIF 13, Roderick Miles. TIF 14, Roderick Miles. And TIF 16, Commissioner Brooks. That's a motion on all
Second.
of those appointments.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for all of those appointments aforementioned. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. Any other board commissioner appointments?
I have 3, all TIFs as well. TIF 6, Riverfront, I'd like to appoint Tracy Knight. TIF 15, which is the stockyards, I'd also like to appoint Tracy Knight. And TIF 9, the TRV board, I'd like to appoint Commissioner Ramirez.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for those appointments. Any discussion there? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Any others? Okay, brings us to public comments. First speaker I have is Dr. Harriet Harrell. Following Dr. Harrell is Bishop Kirkland.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to last week's briefing by the sheriff. In passing, I want to say that in the future, when an elected official gives a public report, he or she should stay to listen to the public's response. The sheriff didn't. You all do every week. Second, let me remind you that in May of 2023, nearly 1,000 Tarrant County citizens signed a petition to the Department of Justice asking for an investigation of the jail because of a culture that has led to many deaths, one being ruled a homicide, a lack of communication or willingness to respond to families of inmates or to citizens with questions, and the secrecy related to policies or lack of them. The site visit report is not that DOJ investigation. It does not focus on the sheriff's office and the jail staff, but on MHMR and JPS. That being That being said, the report does specifically address many of the concerns that those of us who speak to you regularly have been raising for 2 years, and it validates those concerns with specific recommendations. Unfortunately, the sheriff too frequently gave excuses as to why the recommendations couldn't or shouldn't be implemented. That is not good leadership. The public deserves to know that the sheriff will address the issues identified. For instance, among recommendations related to our concerns under medical services were improvement of initial assessments, medication services, and, good heavens, the mortality review process, certainly an immediate concern as we continue to face lawsuits over deaths. Among recommendations under behavioral health services, better communication among MHMR, JPS, and jail staff, a concern we continue to raise, particularly since there is no contract with JPS delineating responsibilities and expectations in the jail. Also, the report says that the Mental Health Diversion Center is a strength, but it identifies existing barriers to its use and recommends they be addressed. You have deleted it from the budget. So 2 questions. How will the diversion center be funded? And what are the plans for overcoming those barriers to its increased use? This is a public report. The public needs to know the plans.
Following Bishop Kirkland, we have Janelle Johnson.
First, I want to apologize to my village. I missed last week because of the folly that went on the week before, how convenient it was. We didn't have enough people to form a quorum on such an important day. I want to say this too is we're resilient people. We haven't gone anywhere. We're not. From 1898 in Wilmington, North Carolina, how they tried to destroy us, but we bounced right back. From Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921, somehow we still bounced back. They killed Mega, Martin and Mega, somehow we bounced back. The truth is, the election is nothing but affirmation to me that Fort Worth wants, that the county of Tarrant wants to remain the same. And I'm encouraged. Someone said to me, I guess you'll quit going down there now that Commissioner Simmons has rallied you all up. Well, I didn't even know Commissioner Simmons until the judge introduced me to her, and he introduced me to her by way of word in my village of his blatant disrespect for her, and that's why I started coming back down here, Commissioner Brooks, long before any of these people were down here speaking. I've been here speaking on behalf of my village, and I want you to know that if I were the sheriff of Tarrant County and I had a green light to continue to do whatever the heck that I wanted to do, I would continue to do it. The last reason I come weekly, if there's not any shenanigans played like on November 5th, is I promised Mr. Johnson that I'd be here every time that door swung open. And my commitment to Mr. Johnson is that I will be here even when he cannot be here. Too much foolishness, too much folly is going on in Tarrant County. And I just want you to know that I am as encouraged as ever, I am resilient as ever, and I am determined as ever. And I just hope that the temperature in the room stays the same. And Judge O'Hara, that you continue to encourage me to come down here, because you are the most encouraging person that makes me get up and come down here. And I want to say thank you so much, sir. And I do want to say that even though the election went some of our ways, and most of our ways, but there is a book in Isaiah around chapter 44 to chapter 45 talks about how even the Most High will raise up evil people to oversee his people until those people do what 2 Chronicles 7:14 said, that we come back to him. So I want to say this, administration, you're teaching us how to pray.
Thank you. Following Ms. Johnson, we have Becky DeLong.
To the residents of Tarrant County, there are critical questions we must ask Judge O'Hare regarding his decisions to spend your tax dollars on outside counsel rather than relying on Tarrant County's legal team. Why doesn't he trust Tarrant County's own attorneys to mediate with my family? Why has he chosen to go to Dallas County to spend nearly $500,000 defending actions that even the sheriff has admitted were wrong in my brother's case? As we approach the upcoming local elections, I urge you to consider how Judge O'Hare has been voting and how he justifies the actions of Sheriff Wayborn, a man complicit under the tragic deaths under his oversight. And speaking of the sheriff, let's not forget the truth behind his decisions. The call to the Falcon Group and the NIC was for an updated investigation was directly related to my brother's death on April 21st. Yet the Sheriff Wayborn continuously sidesteps this fact. Why does he avoid addressing the real cause of the chaos that ensured the wrongful entry into my brother's cell, prompted by the claims of it being dirty and having leftover contraband? His words. These our justifications are unacceptable when the stakes involve human lives. Imagine paying taxes to fund a system that enabled the death of one of your loved ones, then watching the commissioners who control the county's finance support the misconduct of their accountability, without accountability. Each time the four of you dismiss or ignore how you're treating my family and others like us, you will reveal more about the failures in leadership and oversight in Tarrant County. Residents, it's time to demand the truth and accountability from our leaders. Their actions or lack thereof should weigh heavily as you decide who deserves your vote. Together we must ensure justice and not allow those in power to misuse it at the expense of our community. And yes, my brother would still be alive if those jailers showed empathy. My brother will be alive if MHMR didn't deny his visit when he was having an attack. Yes, the failure of the services that we paid for is the reason why my brother is dead to this day. And there's 4 people up here that are still supporting it. But you keep coming out. Stop denying it.
Ms. DeLong.
Former Tarrant County deputies Brandon Walker and Phil Hill filed complaints after witnessing firsthand a pattern of corruption and apathy in the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. These deputies' complaints were never investigated, and the consequences were dire for Brandon Walker. A woman was killed and a man sent to prison for 30 years. Had an investigation occurred, both of these tragedies might have been prevented. Patterns of corruption and apathy in the Tarrant County Jail are not new. Texas Ranger Trace McDonald found 37 false entries in electronic government records, a felony which McDonald said was consistent with the customs and practices of the Tarrant County Jail. Corey Rodriguez was violently attacked by 2 officers, one of whom said it was a normal thing, implying it was a custom and a practice. In the Robert Miller case, the fact of unnecessary and brutal force was defended because it was common practice. His death report came from an internal investigation. If we want to be tough on crime, we need to begin by looking inside the walls of our county jail, where the victims are defenseless more often than not, mentally ill and often homeless. I am asking this court to use the power that you have to withhold future funding for the sheriff's request for additions to a new training center, cars, tires, tubes, militarized tanks, out-of-town trainings, and conferences until the known and accepted customs and practices that repeatedly lead to lawsuits are circumvented by the following. Independent third-party sources to receive employees' reports of unethical or unlawful practices and to initiate subsequent investigations. Immediate termination for violent attacks on inmates, selling illegal and deadly drugs to inmates, and falsifying government records. Breaking the law by not enforcing independent third-party investigations of all jail deaths. You have the power to eliminate these crimes. Do not relinquish your responsibility by continuing to tolerate these customs and practices. Our jail needs to be free of its own criminal behavior.
Thank you. All right, any announcements or comments from the court? All right, seeing none, the Commissioners Court will now recess the open session and proceed to closed session to discuss items exempt under 551071, 072, 074, 076, 087, and 0725 of the Texas Government Code. We are in recess. Very good. Okay. All right, we're back from executive session. There is no action to take at this time. I know we all wish every one of you a very happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy that next week and see if you can find another football team to watch. It's not happening this year. All right, with that, we are adjourned.